This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we 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 see it. This is. This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we see it. This is the way. This is the way we see it. 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 This is. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Cranston Cumberbatch. I can't hear you. Nope. Okay. Um, no, but we gonna work with it. We are gonna work with it. So yes, now saying I see that you're muted. Now, yeah, I'm muted. So we had some flooding in the studio today, so we had to go remote for the show today. So that's why we're on, the StreamYard. So bear with us just a few moments, y'all. Running some technical stuff, but it's all good. We're gonna get it worked out, figured out. Just give us 1 second. Jam, can you play the intro one more time while we get this figured out? This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we see it. This is the way. This is the way we see it. 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 This is. This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we see it. This is the way. This is the way we see it. 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 This is. Man, hopefully we can hear Kawana this time around. Nope, still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on, but it's all good. We're gonna roll it anyway. You can hear me? Okay, you can hear me. I don't know why I can't hear you through. Yeah, it's all right. So I tell you what, um, we're gonna run this intro one more time, and Kawana, we're gonna work this out one more time, Jam.
This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we see it. This is the way we see it, see it. This is the way we see it. This is
All right, so we're gonna try that one more time. I'm Cranston Cumberbatch,
And I'm Kawana Norman.
and this is finally the way we see it today. We've had to go through some technical difficulties, but we got them all worked out now. I just decided to bring her in the room with me, um, to get on a wider camera. So it's all good. It's gay. Welcome to the show, everybody. Um, we got some cool things to talk about.
Yes.
But before we get into that, going back to last week's show, we got into some really good talks regarding the slap heard around the world between Will Smith, Chris Rock at the Oscars, things of that nature. There's still some talk. It's still buzz going around. It's still a hot topic today. And so, but in last week's show, our show producer Jam, she actually dropped some golden nuggets, some insight to Will's frustration and what led to him actually going up and doing the slap. And the way she laid it on us, it was quite interesting. And so we wanted you guys to hear it because when she said it on air last week, she wasn't they didn't hear her. And so we would love for you guys to get her take on that again. So Jam, I'm gonna have you come in and please drop it like it's hot, the same way you dropped it on us
Exactly.
during the show. Same way. All right.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let me turn my camera on. Okay, hey everybody. So I was saying that when Chris Rock made the joke, the G.I. Jane joke, the joke really wasn't about the alopecia. It was about the movie itself, saying how G.I. Jane, the actor Demi, she cheated on her husband with a younger man, Ashton Kutcher, the same entanglement that Jada did with August. So it really wasn't about the alopecia. It was about the affair joke. That's really what it was. Yeah. And my personal opinion, I think he deserves it because as Will and Chris both stated that they're good friends, and for him to go on national TV and say that joke, knowing that he probably shared more details than we know, and him to say it out loud like that shows that he's not a good friend. So I think he deserved the slap. He embarrassed them in public, so he gets embarrassed in public, and that's just my opinion.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I thank you for dropping that on us. I mean,
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean,
Back to the
everybody. Yes.
I didn't even put that together. So
Yeah.
when you dropped that last week, it was like an eye opener.
Mhm.
I was like, oh my gosh, it is deeper than the bald head, the alopecia.
Yeah. So I mean, and the more you think about the movie, I mean, there's just so many ways that you can take it. I mean, even going beyond the joke. Yeah, that did happen with G.I. Jane, where she cheated with a younger man, things of that nature. That is one aspect of it. Then beyond that, if you're going from an alopecia standpoint, and you look behind the joke, it actually is a compliment because of what G.I. Jane overcame once she shaved her head, things of that nature, even the things leading up to that moment. Um, how she how she portrayed herself. She portrayed herself as still being sexy. She portrayed herself as being a strong, intelligent, will fight for it all type of woman. And that she was brave. She was everything that women represent in today's world, especially your mothers, especially those who have to like care for people, especially those who are having to battle through corporate America. Just all the different things that the challenges that women face today, and they're overcoming them in leaps and bounds is the same thing. So in hindsight, you can look at it from that standpoint as well to say, the joke in essence wasn't that bad when you look at the different perspectives that it could have come from. Still,
And then something that I've been thinking about too, Jada probably was just fed up with Chris because she had been the butt of his jokes
Yeah.
for a long time. So that joke right there, maybe it wasn't about the alopecia for her. Maybe it was just like, look, leave me alone.
Right.
You made me the butt of your jokes for years now at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was that angle also.
I looked at her eye roll as a oh, here we go,
Right.
type of deal.
Mhm.
And then putting it in that perspective is the way you placed it, Jam. It was another one of those. Here we go again. Somebody. But now from Will's standpoint, being the one that everyone has an opinion based on your level of manhood, as far as how you are, dealing with your wife, what you're allowing your wife to do, things of that nature. That does play a role on your psyche as to how do you go about showing that you're not a punk. That I'm not this weak dude that y'all are trying to portray me as. Yeah, I'm nice. Yeah, I'm a sweet guy. I'm a sweet guy because that's my nature. But at the same time, I got feelings, I got emotions, and there's some things, there are some lines that I won't allow people to cross anymore, whether I'm in the public eye or not. And he took that risk, and he decided to act out on it. But still, I thought it was an interesting insight, Jam, that you gave us, and I just am like, we had to have you come on and share that, because there were a lot of people who watched last week who said they weren't able to hear you because of course you were off camera and doing your job. So, but no, we really appreciate that, and it's interesting now. Will has since removed himself from even going to the Oscars anymore. He's removed himself from the board. He's removed himself. He didn't remove himself as an actor because you still got to make your money. But he has definitely taken a step to show that he is sorry for what has happened and that he will.
And the Oscars, they have, remember last week I mentioned they were going to hand down his punishment by the 18th of April. Well, apparently they have called an earlier meeting to go ahead and let him know what his consequences will be. So I think they're trying to put this behind everyone. We'll just see how it plays out.
Yeah. We also were talking about how what happened? There we go. We also were talking about how people were not people, Tony Rock, Chris Rock's brother.
Did you see the eye
So you just gave the Jada eye roll right there and mentioned that Chris Rock's brother. Yes, the Jada eye roll. So for those of you who don't know, Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock, took to the stage in his own shows, and basically spoke out on how he feels about what happened, to his brother at the Oscars. And I mean, of course, as any family member, you want to defend your sibling, if at all possible. I don't know. I just think he just went a little far with it. Um, but of course, it was within the line of his comedy, so it's going to be over exaggerated to some degree. But Kawana is not.
No, because I feel like he's just benefiting off of this incident. Like who really knew Tony Rock was on tour, that he had a comedy tour. Um, and he opened with that. That was like his opening monologue, um, about Will and how there's 10 of them and what they'll do to Will and this and that. And,
Yeah.
come on. We're trying to stop the violence. And you
Perpetuate.
yeah. So, I mean, two wrongs are
They don't make it right. They
no.
should make a left, but they definitely don't make
No,
it right.
and it's like that's how he starts his show off. If your brother is not even feeding into this, why are you doing it?
Right.
Chris Rock was he had a concert, and there was a heckler in the audience, and he was like, else will, and Chris is like, oh no, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. So if your brother can do that, the person that it happened to, why are you still feeding into this?
Right. Yes. We got some comments here on the YouTube line, and Dave Smith's chiming in, and he said he went way too deep. I agree, Dave. He went way too deep on that. And now even funnier than that is the fact that August Alsina's song, the Entanglement song, is now getting more spins, ironically enough, and August is pushing it. So now it's even starting to perpetuate this whole thing all over again, which is it's just getting interesting.
But before I came over here to do the show, I was reading Will Smith's book, his memoirs. Their sales have spiked, gone up. So it's like, hey, it's there. Everyone's benefiting from this in some type of way.
Yeah, everybody, for something to, I mean, of course, there are still those who are trying to say that, this may be staged in some capacity, but I don't know. Some things are just a little bit too, it's just a little bit too
Well, just recently,
non-methodical.
since you said that, just recently, Mike Tyson and Ric Flair,
Yeah.
they were doing a podcast, a show or something, and that's what they believe. That was staged. Because Ric Flair is like, yeah, you're not gonna slap someone, you're gonna go and punch them, and it's not just gonna be one slap. It's gonna be several punches.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess again too, you gotta look at who it is. If it was The Rock hosting the Oscars and Will Smith went up and slapped The Rock, yeah, we're gonna think the same thing. This has got to be a joke because there's no way you're going to go up and slap The Rock. But then we would have more than likely seen The Rock retaliate. And even in seeing The Rock retaliate, we're going to still think it's a joke until you start seeing the security come out and all that good stuff, because this fight ain't breaking up.
They said it was only one security guard in, around the stage area.
Right.
Hello?
I mean,
What?
but look who's all there. So I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Just the outside talk around it. I mean, it would have been interesting if Mike Tyson or Ric Flair were hosting the Oscars.
Well, we are. I think we know where that would.
Yeah. But we're talking about Chris Rock, and Chris Rock, he's seasoned in this. I mean, just like with comedians dealing with hecklers and things of that nature, comedians like Chris, they know not to lose it, in reference to dealing with anything that happens, that's not planned. And to roll with the punches, even us as stage actors, me being on stage, if something mishaps goes wrong, someone miscues a line or something to that effect, you're taught to keep rolling regardless, and never let them see you sweat. Don't show that something's wrong because the audience doesn't know. And going back to what everybody was thinking up until the point where Will sat down, everybody thought it was a joke. So had Will have not said anything, and he was just sat there and just looked seriously at Chris, after the slap, everybody would have, had their laugh,
I did. I was
and
shocked.
then it would have kept rolling, and then the speculation and all this talk would have then come after the fact. But everybody would have still been able to be celebrated in their same way. That good feeling of everybody who was, winning these Oscars and things of that nature, of color, would have been able to not have their moments overshadowed by what happened with the slap once it was realized that this is a real deal. So, but it's all good. I'm sure there's going to be some more talk and some more things as this continues to unfold. I'm pretty sure one or both of them are either going to be on Ellen DeGeneres' show before she goes off air, or one of these major talk shows. I don't know. Oprah might even get involved now.
Someone is going to sit the both of them down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's going to happen.
Yes.
I feel it. Either that or one of them is going to get paid a nice sum of money to do the interview, to share their feelings. And I mean, what will really get some good ratings and reviews is to get both of them, to actually talk it out, make the apology open live on air, hug it out, and, go about their business, probably after Chris comes off a tour or something to that effect. Who knows? But
I think, I don't know if it's just me, but we need to hear from Jada. It's like,
you think so?
yes, because the narrative that's out there now, she needs to clear it up because it's making it seem like she doesn't support him. Like, she doesn't know why he did that. She didn't need saving. It's like, oh yeah, Jada, we need to hear from you because this man literally put his career on the line for you.
Yeah, he did. He definitely stood up.
So I'm really hoping she is behind him. She is supporting him.
Yeah, so we'll see. But while we are here on Will Smith, we're going to go to one of our favorite shows that we're talking about right now, which is Bel Air. And we are on episode 10.
Yes.
Episode 10.
First season is done.
Yeah, first season is done, and they definitely ended it on a climactic note. Spoiler alert for those who have not been able to see episode 10 as of yet. I'm gonna need you to catch up if you don't mind. But we're about to spoil it right now, so you may not need to catch up. But actually, I recommend you still see it for yourself to see how it all plays out. But we're gonna, we're gonna unpack some things right now as far as what happened in the episode. I want to jump in on before we get into the bigger parts of it. Some smaller storylines that's building. I'm interested to know your thoughts on the relationship between Jazz and Hillary.
I'm all for it. I like it.
Uh-huh.
I hope they explore that further because I think they're good together. So me personally, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up to
Yes.
Jazz and Hillary.
Yes,
Okay.
I like it.
All right. So for those of you who are watching, if you are digging Jazz and Hillary, this relationship actually being a true, real relationship, give us some thumbs up. Leave something in the comments here. Let us know how you feel about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because in the original series, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, yeah, she couldn't stand him, and they played that out for a while. I mean, it wasn't until almost close to the end of the run before you saw her give any type of nod to Jazz of liking him in any capacity. So that's interesting that they have greenlit the 2 of them to be together so fresh in the show.
And in this one, we actually see Jazz as being this entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first Prince, the original, we really didn't know what Jazz did.
Yeah.
You know,
So
we
yeah,
just hung
they
out with
can,
Will,
yeah.
hung around the house.
yeah.
But this one, Bel Air, Jazz has a personality.
Mhm.
He's very supportive of Hillary.
Yeah.
So I think what I like the most about it is that they actually were friends
Yeah.
before they explored deeper.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I really like that. You
Yeah.
know, because he was a supportive friend for her for a while there.
And I don't know. I think she may have felt she kind of owed Jazz, because he was there for her. You know, when she needed somebody to have her back, especially in dealing with the what do they call that house?
What was it? Influence House.
Influencer house, yes. The influencer house that she was, living in. And you know what? I think that is a cool concept. I mean, I'm sure they exist,
Yes,
now,
yes.
but that is a cool concept to where you're in a space to where everybody is that you're an influencer and it's your job to, post a certain amount of times a day, and to, kind of do your thing. That is real cool. But there also is pressure there, because you got to continue to create content.
Exactly.
And I know that was one of the struggles in
Hillary.
with Hillary in one of the earlier episodes, on her, doing figuring out what type of content to put out to, promote her show. And she decided to go the risque route. And before she can even edit it the way that she wanted to edit and put it out, because of the influencer house owner, he decided that he was going to put it out for her, and he put it out in such a way to where it was like, ooh, even Victoria's Secrets was like, whoa.
Her followers went, woo,
Yes,
through the roof.
yes, followers went through the roof. She made making food look like,
Okay.
But anyway, so all right, so we got that. So again, Jazz and Hillary, if you're feeling this relationship, give us a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. If you're not feeling it, please give us a thumbs down, or just tell us why you're not feeling it, and tell us how long you think it's going to last. Is it going to last?
Another thing with Jazz and Hillary,
Mhm.
I think Hillary feelings came out because she saw Jazz and that other young lady.
Yeah.
Flirting back and forth.
The new girl that she is, who's also an influencer.
Right.
And she's got like a lot more followers than Hillary. And she is doing some work with her now. And Hillary is a fan of hers, and she's trying to get in deeper. And now they've come together, and the minute she meets Jazz, all of a sudden,
Right.
so I don't know. Jazz seems to have that charisma that just makes people fall. I don't know. I could start learning a few things. Yeah. Jazz is a smooth brother in this one. So it's all good. One time, shout out to Jazz. But okay. So I want to go back to also what you said. I do like how this show has kind of given everyone a definitive role by way of what they do. Of course, Vivian, she doesn't have a job per se other than housewife, but she is being established as an artist, and going from housewife to artist. And and Hillary, she's an influencer. She's, there's definitive,
Right.
And then attributes being given to each person.
The younger sister,
Ashley,
she has a personality.
Yeah.
She's not just that little Ashley that she was in the original.
Yeah, not so young. As she's young but very mature.
Yeah.
For her age.
Exactly.
And so that's interesting, to see as well. And even the things that she's beginning to explore as far as her sexuality and all that good stuff. So that is an interesting thing that is, blossoming before our eyes as we watch. I'm also interested to see how even Carlton is being, established, and how he and Will's relationship is starting to, mesh and blend as in the original show. But of course, in the original show, it wasn't viewed as so much drama bringing them together.
Right.
This one, for them to be at the place where they are by the time we get to episode 10, you would think that they would still be at odds with each other. But we see that the relationship is now starting to really blossom and blend together, and that these cousins are really, blooming into brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in the original, if you remember, they actually became like best friends.
Yeah.
Not only were they cousins, they were best friends.
Right.
And in this one, I see that happening also because they've had to lean on each other through some very
Tough.
difficult
Whew.
situations.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I can see that relationship
Mhm.
turn to best friends.
Yeah. And I like how Carlton in this episode said, to Lisa, when Will was going through his moment, which we'll get to, how he said, he was there for me. I got to be there for him.
Exactly.
And I thought that was interesting, the way he said that. But now let's get to the hot part of this episode.
It was one more.
Yeah, one more. Go ahead.
What do you think about Viv and the
Read.
Michael Ealy's?
Yes, read.
Yes.
Yes.
There, I see some.
Oh, you already know.
Yes,
You
I'm
already
not
know.
trusting my instincts with Viv because I really feel like she's feeling him
Man.
on a level that she shouldn't be feeling him on.
Viv is playing with the fire.
Yes.
And my man, Michael Ealy Reed, the character that he's playing, Reed, he's just like, hey, I'm not applying any pressure.
Right.
I respect you as an artist, and at the same time, he's like, whatever you do, it's gonna be on you.
It's like, I mean, she's not leaving anything to the imagination.
She
It's
is
like,
not. She is not. She is not.
Yes.
And you know what? I could see it being kind of hard for her, because over time, especially when you've been in a relationship for a long time, you kind of forget what it's like to have attention, like really like put on you, or really given to you. And some, depending on who you are, especially in this age of social media, things of that nature, I'm sure a lot of attractive women and who have affluent things about them, that they're putting out on social media. Their DMs are probably full of people giving them attention.
Right.
But it's when you get the attention of someone that you wouldn't mind giving the attention back to. We don't run into those situations all too often. And so, normally it's somebody that you're like, ugh. Like, but when it is someone that, you like I said, you can equally give that attention back to, it does strike you in a different way.
Yeah.
And especially if it's within the wheelhouse of where you are.
They have so much in common.
Right. And and it awakens a certain part of you. Like for Aunt Viv, that was a part of her that's been buried for so long, talking about art and doing art, and being in that art community, and then having people appreciate and enjoy your work and all that good stuff. Phil, he's feeling that all day, every day, because he was running for election, things of nature. So that was putting him in the face of people all the time.
Attorney before.
Yeah, he's a prominent attorney. So, he had a lot of things going for him. And so to be in a position, speaking of Aunt Viv, to be in that position to where now, you have this artist who is well established. He's helped so many people, go to the next level. And all of a sudden now he's looking at me.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, what also affects a lot of us in these situations too, is if you know this person already has a bunch of attractive people wanting him, you know, speaking of it. And even if they're not attractive, just anybody that's in your inner circle looking at this person is like, oh, he's hot, you know. Yeah.
And her girl said that to her.
Right. All of them like, ooh, you know, so that also plays on the psyche as well, you know, because if you have an opportunity to have access to it and no one else can, that makes you exclusive. And I don't know, that VIP life, it has a different calling, you know. So
So that's
anyway,
gonna be interesting.
it's gonna be interesting to see how this unfolds, you know. So yes, y'all can, if you're watching the show and you got some feelings about Aunt Viv and Reed, give us some comments on that. Let us know what you think. You know, you can tell us in the comments below, or you can tell us however you know us, social media, email us or whatever, and we'll be sure to come back with those comments on next week's show to recap on that before we start going into the other shows, because we are coming up on some season finales here, so we definitely will be shifting to some newer shows that we'll be talking about while the main shows that we're watching right now are on their hiatus. So you done talking about Aunt Viv?
I am. I'm
All right.
sorry.
All right. No, that's good. That was a good throw in because that is a budding relationship that we need to keep tabs on.
Yes.
You know, and just like Viv said, she said her and Phil have talked about it, and you know he's aware. You know, of
Have
who he
they?
is. Yes.
Have they?
We'll see. We will see. But yeah, so the main thing that we were really looking forward to and watching this episode 10 of Bel Air, was to see who was going to play Will's dad. And we were really hoping, really hoping
Really old.
that it was going to be Will Smith, because
Yes.
if it was actually Will Smith himself, and they did a lot of build up, I would say maybe by default, but because they were doing so much of showing Will Smith and Jabari Reed together, Banks, not Reed, he's an artist, Jabari Reed's an artist here, I'm very good artist, but Jabari Banks, showing them two together, you know, things of that nature, that it was a perfect build up for Will to actually play the dad in this episode. And
And when they opened the door,
yes, it was Marlon Wayans. And so, to be honest, Marlon did a good job. Not taking anything away from him, Marlon. I'm giving you a hand clap of good job. You know, because it's hard to be seen as a comedian and then to have a serious scene, dramatic scene, and it not be viewed as, and you're able to view it for the drama that is there. You did a good job, sir. So I give you a salute on that. I mean, all the way down to the tears. It really felt like a real moment between you and your son in this episode. But I can see it in your face. You got some comments, so come on with it.
No, I can't agree with you.
Yeah.
After the initial disappointment,
Yes, of course. I had the same thing
I
too.
was disappointed.
Yes.
I gave Marlon a chance.
Mhm.
I did, and I think he did. I think he did pretty good.
Yeah.
I did. So I won't take anything from
I got you. So they come together, you know, and finally after 13 years, Will comes face to face with his dad, and he has the opportunity now to find out, you know, where you been. You know, why have you been absent from my life all this time? You know, why have you never tried to reach out and talk to me and or find me, things of that nature. And you know, we've had some interesting thoughts surrounding this. And Kawana, I'm gonna let you go first on your thoughts before I get mine.
I'm gonna be honest. I was so upset with Lou.
Lou, that's the dad's name.
With Lou, because he didn't want to take responsibility for his actions, for his shortcomings, any of that. He wanted to blame everyone else but himself. He really, really, really tried to put this on
I'm the Vi.
Bye. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. He really
Will's
wanted
mom.
to put this on mom, and that's not fair because she's the one who stayed there and raised your child
Mm,
when you had to go away.
yes.
So to do that, that was wrong. And if you thought that was gonna be how you won your son over,
Hmm.
I don't know what you were thinking. This is the one constant person in his life. And you came in there trying to say, if she had been this way, if she had done this, no, you can't do that. So when you all were bonding, you ruined that by trying to make his mother seem like less than what he sees her. And
And what I think in that moment when they were, talking, it was a little rough at first. When they first started talking, things of that
Right.
nature, and Will started his initial questions. And then there's a moment where, as Kawana's speaking of now, there's a moment when they actually, found that bonding moment. And you see them, bonding, laughing, and joking about a
yes,
time, that they went to
a baseball game.
Sixers game.
Oh, six
Yeah, so it's a basketball game, and Dad was trying to get Allen Iverson's signature. He got an opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah.
get, in the locker room. He's trying to get Allen Iverson's signature, and Will's wandering off as a little kid, things of that nature. And they laugh about that moment. And so, with that laughter there, I think the dad, Lou,
He got comfortable.
he got very comfortable. He got a little too comfortable with Will, thinking that he has now earned the right. He felt as though, all right, I got my son. My son is like feeling me right now. He's
Right,
laughing with me,
right.
and so I can be real. And I think the conversation just goes to show that sometimes, you know, as opposed to taking the short route. He thought he took the short route to win his son's affection back, but he forgot about, like you said, the main person that's been in his life all this time, and the first insult or the first thing you say bad about them, true or not, it's going to derail the conversation because of how much respect, how much love, how much protection, needs this person has for them.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, even when he called his mom and said, "Hey, my dad's here," and he was upset at his mom for a little bit, but he wasn't so upset with her that he just hung up the phone, on her. He suffered through the conversation, took whatever advice she had to give him, and he, made the decision to be okay with seeing his father. But the dad, in being a little bit too real, goes and says, things about the mom, that she how well, just going to get to how their relationship was, because he did ask him, what happened between y'all two,
Right.
and then he goes into saying, she pushed him to do certain things, and just really being,
She was this way and she was that.
yeah, and I mean, and speaking from a man's perspective, but at the time, like I said, he forgot that he still is has to butter and warm him up a lot more,
Yes.
and so it was just interesting to see. It was just
This
y'all forgive me. I just gotta start hitting buttons. So as soon as we hit the wrong button, boom, there we go. Anyway, but we're back. This is gonna be a fun episode on
Yes.
the YouTube stream. Anyway, thank you to Jam, always being ready to handle whatever mishaps may happen on our parts. She's ready to go. I love our intro, by the way. That is our intro. You
It
play
is.
it 50 times if you want. I like it, But anyway, so yeah, so with this confrontation, there is a lot to unpack with that because I do know as when you're speaking from a perspective of trying to give your side of what happened to someone. You know, um, even when Phil and Lou are talking, you know, Phil has his opinion on Lou and why he asked him. You know, he's like, "Hey, why were you gone? You know, what happened to you the last 3 years? You know, why haven't you tried to reach out to him, you know, within the last 3 years, you know?" And Lou was like, you know, well, I wanted to take some time to, you know, like get myself together to, you know, to get myself in a better situation than what I'm in now, so that when I do see him, he doesn't see his dad as this guy that, you know, that has majorly messed up and is still doing bad, you know, but he wants to see him on the upside. You know, and then when you throw in the fact that on the other side of that, you know, you find out he's living with the rich brother-in-law, you know, now who's out in Bel Air, has all these, you know, fine, expensive things, and here you are still just barely making it, you know.
But 3 years ago, Will wasn't in Baylor. He was in Philadelphia, where you could have reached out to him because most of the time, honestly,
Mhm.
kids are not looking for you to be doing well.
They just want to see you.
They just want to see you. They just want to see mom or dad or whomever the absent parent is. You know what I'm saying? They're not worried about whether you're a millionaire or you can do this or that for them. They want to see you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was an excuse.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, male pride, you know, it definitely has its way of preventing you from looking at things from a more simple place, a more simple standpoint. Because in essence, you know, I know me, when it came to my dad, I viewed my dad as my hero, you know, and as the hero, it's kind of hard to see them affected by kryptonite if you viewed them as your hero.
Right.
Um, you know, but at the same time, you know, if you do have the stand up kind of father, you know, he's going to, like, during that time of weakness, say, look, hey, I'm down now, but I'm working to get up, you know, and these are the things that I'm doing. And these are the things you need to keep in mind as you're growing so that you don't have to go through it this way.
Exactly.
You know, I'm going to get out of this, but I don't want you to experience that. And on Lou's part, he kind of was wanting to wait till he got out of it before he said something.
But that's not teaching your son how to deal with adversity.
Right. And it's not.
So
It's not.
let him see you now.
Yeah.
And then also let him see you fighting to get up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now there's an interesting dynamic here as well, because, you know, even with that, his from what his thoughts were, you know, from his place of innocence, he does come as soon as he hears from someone of the family to say, hey, your son needs you. And he dropped it all, you know, the church he's attending, you know, the pastor ended up helping pay for his plane ticket or his trip out to Bel Air,
Right.
you know, things of nature. So for me, it did say, you know, in lines of what his mindset was on. He truly wholeheartedly believed that if I work this way, get myself to this place, I'm going to be in a better position to, you know, see my son. And then my son will see me like this, and, you know, I can then tell him all of these things, you know. And like you said, the timing, though, he didn't need it after, he needed it now. But where I'm going with this is that the minute, though, Jeffrey came to him and said, your son needs you, he moved, you know. So now I'm wondering, if Viv said that, what would have happened? If Viv would have reached out to him and said, your son needs you,
I don't think he would have came.
you don't think so?
No.
Or you don't think if Phil reached out and said, your son needs you?
No, because of the dynamics. between Philip, Vivian, Brian. It's different. He doesn't know different. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And this man shows up out of nowhere, telling me my son wants to see me. My son needs me. You know, he's more prone to listen to him because his curiosity is giving him. He wants to see what's going on. Why does my son need me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No, have Viv reached out to him? No,
You don't think so?
I don't.
Okay, I don't know. So that's family reaching out to him.
Because as a woman, she would have came at him like, you know, where have you been? You've been out of prison for such and such time. So then he immediately would have went on the defense.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, I mean, possibly. I mean, you're right. With it being that close, there is a possibility that she, just like the conversation with Will and Lou, one thing said that throws you off, it throws the whole conversation left,
that's
and you
what would
just
have happened
miss
with
it
him
off.
and Brian. That's what would have happened with him and Phil.
But I think though, maybe if she'd have called him and said, as soon as he went to Bel Air, and she called him and said, "Hey, your son's gotten into some trouble. I sent him out to Bel Air, you know, to get away from this for a while, but he needs you. You need to find a way to reach out to him. He's at Phil and Viv's, you know, reach out to him. Your son needs you." I think in that timing, it would have worked, you know, minus all the extra. I think with him understanding the uh, brevity of what his son was up against, especially when you start talking about gangs and things of that nature, especially in Philly, where the death rates are pretty high. That whole little pocket between Philly, Chicago, New York, that whole area. I mean, yeah. So, but we got a few comments here. Um, Dave Smith says that I believe Lou was sincere. See, he believes he was sincere.
No. First of all, I didn't say I don't think he was.
All right, no, I'm not saying that either.
But he didn't go about it the right way. I
Yeah,
think his intentions were
sincere. Yeah.
at first.
Mhm.
But then when Will asked the question, what happened between you? He took the opportunity to bash his mother, which he should never do
Mhm.
at no point in time.
Right.
So-
Or figure out a way to say it where Will interjects it and then he just co-signs what Will says. You know, allow it to come from the other person versus it coming out of you first.
Yes, I do think initially, yes, I do think his intentions were honorable, but they went off real.
And Space Jam says, me too. He's just hurt by his own actions, trying to protect Will from how he felt when he was Will's age. And she was saying that in reply to, in connection to what Dave said as well. And I mean, you know, for me, again, I do believe his whole intent, like you said, was sincere. He really was trying to, I don't know, I don't think there was any right way to approach this, not knowing how to approach it at all, because you don't know how your son's going to be, you know, if he's even going to talk to you, when he does talk to you, you know, is he going to just be throwing darts at me the whole time, you know, or is he going to allow me in to actually talk to him? And again, as we played through it, it started out rough at first. It warmed up a little bit, and then boom, it went really bad. You know, towards the end, to where once he started talking about his mother for Will, it was like all bets are off. You know, I don't want nothing to do with you.
And then I haven't seen you in 13 years, and then you try to put your hands on me.
Right.
Yeah.
On top of that, you know, but I mean that's just a natural parental reaction.
You don't have that right. You have not been in my life.
This is true, but
So,
you know,
no.
you man reflex. That's what happened. It was a man reflex. It was a man daddy reflex, and even though I
You need
haven't,
to be disciplined, you weren't there.
yeah.
So no.
But you see, actually, we see where Will gets it from.
Right.
I'm talking about the real Will, because he immediately, as soon as he said something left, he was. But anyway, so I thought that was very interesting the way that this plays out. And then after these two fall out, Will just like cancels everybody. I mean, the whole entire everybody. Um, and he decides to leave.
I thought that was honestly, I thought that was a bit childish. Um, because no one has done anything to you. You're mad at your father. You know what I'm saying? Um,
He's mad at his father, but he also feels like betrayed by everybody else that he's grown up knowing all this time, to where for him, he feels as though you telling me that, that my dad went to prison, things of that nature, you telling me that, I would have been able to handle that, you know, had you have just told me what happened to him, versus telling me he just left and just leaving me to my own thoughts, my own opinions as to what happened, things of that nature.
but at
And
the time, as parents, you're trying to make the best decision you think for your child.
yeah,
So no one did it maliciously. No one, you know, she did it because she thought it was best that I just, because once you say your father went to prison, it's going to open up Pandora's box for more and more questions. So then now I have to really tell you who your father is. Are you really ready for that at that age?
right.
You know, I think at some point she was going to really let Will know who Lou was, but it came sooner than what
Yeah,
she was ready for.
yeah.
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
they started talking about it around his 17th birthday.
Right.
And, of course, he's getting closer to becoming an adult. So she, wanted to at least start the conversation. It's not as if he hasn't been asking, but, it's funny, right as he gets to the point to where I don't really want to know anymore, that's when it starts all coming out,
Right.
you know.
But I don't think he was ever to that point. It's easy to say that.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
he wanted to know.
yeah. So season ends with Will leaving the house, and we don't know where he's gonna go. I don't think he even knows where he wants to go.
Jazz gave him some real good advice.
Yeah, and he did, the one true person that he opened up to and left to know anything about his whereabouts or anything like that was Jazz. And Jazz, like you said, gave us some good advice, and we'll see what happens. That's Bel Air, everybody. Um,
Can't wait for season 2.
yes, cannot wait for season 2. Winning Time. If you have not watched that show, highly recommending that you watch Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. The show is nothing like you would expect. It's HBO Max, so they leave nothing to the imagination. Nothing. Even though they're talking about the LA Lakers, they leave nothing to the imagination on how this team rose to its dynasty. And it's all based off of a book written by someone that was close to the all the individuals involved to that team. And so, there are some true elements in there. There are some dramatized elements in there as well, but it is a good story. And I'm glued. I'm like hooked,
Every
yeah.
Sunday.
Every Sunday. It is interesting to see this whole thing unravel. And, what's cool for me to see is to see how people go from zero to hero, how they go from the bottom to the top, how their level of persistence, pushes them to a place of, I'm not going to allow my dream to die. I'm not going to, by any means necessary, whatever it takes to get it done, I'm going to do whatever it takes because I'm invested. I can't sleep, I can't eat the way I want to because I want this so bad. And to see each of the characters, go through their fight. This last episode that came on focused more on Kareem and the battle that Kareem was going through. Being now considered a veteran in the league, and you got these rookies coming up with all this youthful energy and things of that nature. You got this coach coming in that's wanting to push youthful energy and all that good stuff, and the play calling, and got you running up and down the floor the whole game for 48 minutes. I think the time frame may have been a little longer back in that
And
time frame. Yeah, and I think they may have shortened it a little now, not by much, but by a little. But still, you got Kareem who's, you know, dealing with all this stuff. He's won his championships. He's proven that he is an elite player.
and then also with Kareem,
Mhm.
what you're seeing is that Kareem was he's really big on it's more than basketball.
Right.
It's more to life than basketball.
Yeah.
And that's what he concentrated on.
Mhm.
Yes, he played basketball, but it was his life outside of basketball that
Yeah.
was most important
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah. It was.
It's funny to see the same.
That the correlation with him and Muhammad Ali, how they went through the name change and becoming Muslims and things of that nature. Muhammad Ali going from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, and then from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going from Lou Alcindor Jr. to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and making those choices to take a stand on being black in America, and wanting to do something by way of civil justice to have some equal rights, and then that challenge on whether or not to utilize how do you utilize your platform to do that, and with me being considered a celebrity, am I in the right place to even be fighting? Am I being looked at as a fighter still? Or am I being looked at as a sellout because I'm a celebrity? So it was really great to see how the show highlighted those challenges that Kareem went through.
Because that's playing into what's going on now.
Yep.
Because Kareem made some comments about LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, I see where he's coming from because Kareem has always been that dude that carried himself a certain way. And the comments he made about LeBron was basically like, you're the guy, you're the face of the NBA. You need to carry yourself a certain way. You shouldn't be out there doing kitty dances. It was some other things.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically calling for him to take
And
a
he's like, don't straddle the
stand.
fence. Either
Yeah.
you're here or you're there, but you can't play both sides.
Yeah.
So he called him out on some things.
Yes.
And he just recently apologized. But why are you apologizing? That's how you
That's how you feel. That's how you
feel.
feel.
You know what I'm saying?
But we are living in cancel culture, and you say the wrong things about a person, you say something, that somebody views as too far left, they are ready to just like write you off, blacklist you in any way possible, to say that your opinion doesn't matter, or your opinion matters too much for us to want to deal with it, and deal with the truth, or even deal with the taking a deeper thought to what you said. We don't want to do that. We want to keep things simple and fluffy and all that good stuff. We're not trying to go deep to nothing, or even talk it out like civilized people. So, but winning time, again, that's one of the elements. There's so many other elements that are there. Definitely talking about Magic, and Magic, how he's coming into his own, being a rookie on the team at the time, and how he grew into
his leadership.
Yeah, and it's into his leadership role, and really like gaining the trust of his other teammates and things of that nature, and new coach and all that good stuff, and just all the stuff that team has gone through just in this early onset. It's like, whoa, I didn't even realize all this was happening. And I know there's many teams that have gone through their different struggles, ups and downs, hoops and hurdles that they had to go through to be who they are. But to really see it in this fashion, in the way that the story is being told, it's really interesting to watch. Like I said, it's not anything like you would imagine. The story is truly a story. It's dramatized in such a great way that you definitely want to watch it. And one of the other things that I love is that cinematography, and the editing and all that good stuff. It looks like it was shot back in the day. Like,
is.
I mean, it looks like we're watching something from the 60s, the
It
early
is.
70s.
It's an
You
awesome
know,
show.
really, really good show. So,
But I
um,
find it interesting that Magic Johnson, Noah Green, Abdul-Jabbar will watch the show.
Nope.
Said no, they would not watch it.
not going to watch it. They have their memories of, that time frame, coming up in the league and things of that nature and during this rise of the Lakers dynasty. And, and what they said is that, we want to keep those thoughts that they personally have, intact. And I think, it maybe is a smart thing to do to some degree, unless the story goes so far left for you that you feel you need to address some things. I mean, yes, we know Magic Johnson was young. We all were young at some point in time. And as you gain more access to things, you tend to explore those things more. And Magic Johnson, he was at a high point in his life to where he was gaining more access to a whole lot of stuff. And with it coming fresh and fast at him, he indulged.
Took advantage of it.
He took advantage of it, and in his youth, he did a lot of stuff. I'm not saying bad, but nothing that most of you ain't did. See the finger? Most of you ain't did. I mean, I know I had my shortcomings as well in my youth, but again, as you gain more access to things, you do tend to be more open to indulge. But it is all good. But we have run out of time for today's show. In fact, we've gone overtime due to our technical difficulties. But we thank you so much for hanging out and staying with us as long as you have. We hope we gave you at least a whole hour of the way we see it. If not, we'll promise to make it up to you on next week. But yeah, so we're going to sign off for now. Again, the shows we're watching, Bel Air, winning time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. Power Force.
This Sunday.
Yes, so they took a week off, so that's why we didn't talk about it this week. So this Sunday, Force is back on Power, and we will definitely be talking about that on Thursday. And hello, Vladimir. He was watching us from the Ukraine, man. Good to see you. Thank you so much for watching us. We're finishing now, but when we're done, you can go back and catch the whole show. But thank you guys. We're signing off for now. I am Cranston Cumberbatch.
I am Kawana Norman.
And this is the way we see it.
This is